Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was forwarded to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I am a man who is aged 46 years old. As for my father used to be a taxi owner before he had passed away. But my father, he was killed by his own short boys. My father, he had two of these short boys, and these short boys of his, they were the ones that were giving him protection. You know that in the taxi industry, there is a lot of fighting that takes place, fighting for the routes and stuff like that. So my father, when he confessed to me, he told me that he had once gone to visit, and he had visited his other uncle who told him about these short boys. And if he wanted these short boys, it was quite easy, since my father, he was really a wealthy man. My father, when he took this other short boy, he was told that he had to buy a taxi. In those days, the most popular taxis that were on the road, they were those ones called Siaya. So he had dedicated one of his taxis to those tokoloshis, and he placed this Siaya on a long route, those ones that travel for very long distances. So usually this taxi, whenever the tokoloshi would want blood, then this taxi, it will just have something like an accident, even if it was going to be a minor accident, as long as there will be someone in that taxi who will have some minor damages on his or on her body. As long as there will be blood, these tokologists, they were happy. They would feed on that blood of that person, even when that person would have gone back to his home or to her own home, but death will follow that person, because what these tokologists will do is that they will keep on following that person that would have received those minor injuries at the time of the accident. Then they will keep on sucking the blood of that person. Then the person will start to get sick, like with those type of diseases whereby a person can go to the hospital, then a person will be told that they are okay. The doctors will even discharge you, even though when they see that you are sick. Those were the type of illnesses that the people that would be on that taxi, and a person that would have gotten injured in my father's taxi, then the tokologists will start to suck up the blood. That is what used to happen when my father was still alive. But the rituals were broken. As to how these rituals were broken, I do not even understand, Brother Nashi. After my father had passed away, or let me say that before my father had passed away, it was like he knew that he was about to die. So my father came to me one day. At that time, I was a married guy already. When he came to me, he said, son, my only son, I want to speak with you. Then my father came and we started talking. He then confessed to me, and he told me about these rituals that he had done. And he told me that these rituals, they had to be done at all the times, since I was like his only son, his only blood, his only seed that he had left on earth. These rituals were supposed to be done at all the times. So when my father told me this story, I never believed him anyway. But the thing that he gave me, Brother Nashi, it is sort of like an animal. This animal, it looks like it is just a normal rat. When he handed me this rat, it disappeared right before my eyes. When I was holding it in my hands, then it just disappeared. My father then told me that these are now your own short boys, your small short boys. They will be telling you what they want. You must make sure that they never go hungry. So since I went to university and I chose that I do not want to be part of my father's business, because I was never like a violent man. I didn't want to be part of being in these taxi associations. I just wanted to have like a regular job, and besides, my father left a really good fortune for me. So I took that money that he left for for me. Then I invested that money into other businesses. Me and my wife, we were really living a comfortable life. But with time, when your father used to be a transporter, it's like it follows your blood. So at the suburbs where me and my wife were staying before we had moved out of that area, there were these other ladies that formed a group. Since all of our kids, like that time, even my child was still in preschool, and they said that they had to form like a transport association that will be taking the kids from the suburbs and taking our kids, going with them to different schools. So me and my wife, since we had those capabilities, since I knew a lot of people, I went and I spoke with this other old guy who used to be a friend of my father, and he first borrowed me his taxi, and from there on I stopped this business because I just didn't like it. So when I stopped, those ladies, they said, let us look for someone who has a car. There was this other guy. The guy, he was from Malawi or Zambia, I'm not sure. He was here in South Africa. So this guy, he used to come to our area. We knew that if we wanted any renovations to be done, plumbing, electrical stuff, like those people that come from outside of the country, they are into this construction business. So this guy, he had his own car that had some space in it. So he came and he spoke with those ladies, and he said, you can actually offer me this job. I'll be transporting your kids to school as well as taking them from school. So we spoke with him and we said, but your car, it won't be able to do like one load. What are you going to do? The guy then said, okay, I'll be doing 2 loads. So it happened that he was given that contract. But I then saw that this guy, he was actually making money, and he was doing 2 to 3 loads because people from the whole neighborhood, they were using his car. I then went and I bought another car, almost the same with that car that he had, and it had also a lot of space. And I said, let me just remove this guy from the picture. But the parents, they were saying that they wanted this transporter because he was honest with them. He always made sure that the kids, they do not fight when he's taking them to school and bringing them to school. So when I saw that there was no one who was supporting me in that neighborhood, I said, let me return back to what my father had taught me. One night, Brother Nash, I didn't even know how to call these short boys, because my father, he had told me that he was going to show me the way that I can call these short boys if I wanted them to protect me. But I used to dream about them. They will just come to me and I will be playing with them as if they were my kids. On that night, I don't know, I just got outside of the house late at night and I sat down. I was sitting close to this other flower bed and I started to call out those short boys, and to my surprise, they came, Brother Nashi, and they asked me what I wanted from them, and I told them that I wanted that guy from Malawi or Zambia to die. And those short boys said it will be done, and they just disappeared. This guy, Brother Nashi, he then had an accident. What happened is that he had collected the kids, and when he had gone with the kids to the school, when on his way back, that was when he jumped the red robot and he had a head-on collision with an oncoming car, and he was hit like on the side of his car and he died on the scene. The moment that he died, I also knew that he had died because I saw sort of like a vision, like a movie that was being played right before me. And I saw those 2 tokoloshis, they were busy harvesting his blood. And the way that they were doing it, it was quite evil because the car had turned upside down. So the doors were open. There was that man's blood that were on the doors, and this man, he had picked up this other woman. I think that this woman, she was on her way to work. That woman also died, but she died in hospital. Now the ghost of that woman, that ghost is now troubling me. The spirit, Brother Nashi, it has been troubling me all of these years. I had been troubled by that spirit, but now the spirit of that guy who is from Malawi is now coming back now, and that man is giving me a lot of sleepless nights. That lady, she kept on coming and attacking me and my wife, and she will be like, what wrong did I do to you? Do you know me? Why did you kill me? My children are suffering because you killed me, and I was the one who was taking care of my own children. So I visited some traditional healers who promised that they were going to assist me and they were going to block the spirit of this woman who was killed in that accident, by mistake. But Brother Nashi, the spirit of that woman kept on troubling me and my wife until me and my wife, we ran away from our first house that we bought after we had gotten married, because when we would be fast asleep, we will actually hear her cooking, doing the dishes, even washing the clothes and stuff like that throughout the night, until we decided to run away. We then came to the place where we are now staying. That was when I saw one day the ghost of this man whom I wanted my small boys to kill. So I called out to the small boys and I said, what is going on? Why am I seeing his ghost as well? The short boys didn't want to give me an answer. So I insulted them and I said, tell me now what is going on. The short boys then told me that they cannot speak with me because they are hungry. They said that I should feed them first with some blood so that we can be in communication. And when I said, what type of blood when I said, so you want blood, tell me what am I going to do? These short boys then said that they wanted the blood of my son. And I said, to hell with you. And they said, if you say to hell with us, let us return back to hell. But all these years we were the ones that had been protecting you. The moment that they lifted their protection over my life, I was beaten up, Brother Nashi, when I was in my car, and I started screaming and screaming. And this thing, when it happened, we were waiting in a traffic jam, and then the spirit of that man whom I had him killed by my tokologies, I saw him suddenly. He was just with me in my car. Then he started beating me. The other people, they just saw me screaming and they thought that maybe I am on drugs or maybe I had received bad news. And what they didn't know was that there was actually the spirit of that man that was beating me up. By the time that I arrived home, I found my wife sitting down with a bucket full of hot water. What she was doing was that she had this other towel that she would throw into that bucket of hot water. Then she would press it around her face because of the way that she was swollen. She could not even see properly. It was as if she had just came out of a boxing match, maybe with Mike Tyson or something like that. Brother Nashi, that was when me and my wife agreed that it is far much better that we sacrifice our son so that we can live. My wife, one day, she woke me up late in the night. Then she started crying. I asked her, why are you crying? Then she said, it is far much better that we try to have another baby so that by the time that we would have lost our son, then I will be having another baby. So currently my wife is pregnant. By the time that she's going to give birth, that is when the sacrifice is going to happen so that the spirit of that man can stop troubling us. As for now, at least there is a little bit of peace, but the threats are forever there. Stokologists, they keep on threatening me and my wife almost like on a daily basis.